Uncle Ted and my mom thought it would be good if I went to St. Francis. And of course, Uncle Ted paid for my way to go to high school. And St. Francis at that time was all girls.
Oh, okay.
And that's JCA now.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But I went there for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Then I ended up getting pregnant with your aunt. Never graduated from there.
Oh, okay.
And I went up to St. Vincent's in Chicago while I was pregnant with her, because at that time, if a boy got a girl pregnant from Catholic High,
mm-hmm.
they were kicked out of school. It was nothing like what it is now. So I lived in Chicago for 5 months, had Aunt Michelle all by myself. There was nobody there.
Aww.
And Grandpa and Uncle Ted came up later after she was. Then Grandpa graduated from Catholic High on the 4th of June.
Mm-hmm.
We got married on the 11th of June.
Oh, very quick.
And we lived on Reed Street for a while. So I had Aunt Michelle and Uncle Tommy both on Reed Street, and Jimmy.
You lived with your mom?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Jimmy, of course, 3 weeks later, I found him in the crib, and he had died of uremic poisoning.
His kidney failure or something?
We had no idea that his urethras had never formed.
Oh.
We had no idea, you know.
Yeah.
So then we moved over here on Logan Avenue,
mm-hmm.
but it's by Route 80. It's not the Logan Avenue on Washington Street. It was a continuation of it.
Okay.
So we lived there for 3 years. That's where I got pregnant with your dad.
Oh, okay.
And then I liked it over there, but we needed a bigger house because we had Tommy and Michelle,
mm-hmm.
and I was gonna have your dad.
Yeah.
So that's when we looked and we did the owner completion on the house on Davison Street.
What does owner completion mean?
That means that they do part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think they did the foundation, and then we finished the house.
Oh, okay.
And that was something else again too.
So you guys got to decide the layout of the Davison house?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So. And
how many bedrooms were there? It's like a smaller house, right?
It wasn't even quite 1,000 square foot. But the only nice thing about that house, it had a basement.
Oh.
So you had another level, and every now and again, one of them would decide they want to sleep in the basement. So we'd move the bed and get it all set up for them, and then all of a sudden, I want to come back upstairs. So that was quite a time. But we lived there for 21 years.
Oh, wow.
And we lived right next door to Nichols.
Yeah. Oh. And now it's still close, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So then I had Uncle Steve there.
That's awesome.
So
they have full house.
We definitely had a full house.
What were the holidays like? Did you?
The holidays were crazy because I used to have everybody, the McGanns, and I don't remember that Mom and Uncle Ted came that often because there were so many of the McGanns.
Yeah, like you're talking about all
Elaine
Marsha, all of them.
and Grandma, and they'd all come for Christmas Eve and then Christmas Day. So And I mean, there were a lot of kids at that time. I mean, 8 of them,
Yeah.
you know.
Did they live close by? Like, did they?
They lived up right off of Washington Street in the second block
Oh,
of
okay.
Davison.
Okay.
So,
Cause like Grandpa like was living there like with all of them before he
yeah,
got married.
Grandpa passed at 61 of a heart attack.
Oh. Wow.
He had had 2 or 3 before that, but
Oh, he did.
then he had the final one that got him.
Oh man.
So, but with Grandpa's family, the Chervins,
Mhm.
that was Aunt Ollie, who was Grandpa's sister.
Oh, okay.
There were 6 kids in Grandpa's family. There was Aunt Fudgy, Uncle Donnie, Uncle Joe. Honey, that would be a whole
Whole thing.
if I go into that. I mean, I don't honestly know how many McGanns there really are left.
So when did Grandpa start working? Like, what was his first job?
Grandpa worked when we first got married. Grandpa was changing tires at Lucenta Tire downtown.
Oh, okay.
And he was 14. He shouldn't have
14?
been. He shouldn't have been working yet.
Oh.
But then after we got married, my mom moved from one job to the foundry.
Okay.
On McDonough Street there by the bridge.
Mhm.
And she talked to the boss there to see if possibly Grandpa could come to work there. He'd never been trained there. But we needed more money. I mean, he just wasn't getting... And I kept getting pregnant, and he, So he finally went down to the foundry. He worked there... Oh, gosh. I can't honestly say. 5, 6 years, maybe. And then he went to Amico.
Okay.
And he was in the electrical department at Amico. And one of the guys at Amico, Jim Monday was the guy's name, took a liking to Grandpa.
Aww.
And he says, you know, Tom, I think you could be a good electrician. And Grandpa kind of hem-hawed. He wasn't real sure about that. So, yeah. And Grandpa was the kind, I mean, Uncle Jerry we had a garage, and it was connected to the house on Davison.
Okay.
So Uncle Jerry would bring all his cars over there and paint the cars in my garage.
Oh, gosh.
And that smell, but they were over quite a bit, so it was a riot. But yeah. And he worked there for 12 years.
Oh, okay.
And the last few years, when he decided that he was going to try to become an electrician, 3 nights a week he would go to Coyne Institute in Chicago.
Oh.
So I'd have dinner ready so that he could eat and take off and go. So I've still got all of that stuff, the diploma and all
Oh,
of
really?
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. So that's how we got into that. And then Grandpa started, Don Nichols. Don was actually the guy that got Grandpa going in that. Because Tony Gutierrez, you wouldn't remember any of these guys.
No.
They were all teachers.
Oh, okay.
But what they did in the summer was they had their own construction business.
I didn't know that.
Mike Monken, Tony Gutierrez. You'd have to ask Bobby if he would remember who they all were. There was Don, because Bobby and Don plumbed our house when we were building it.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
uh, uh, and I'd babysit, for Marilyn when she'd have to run or whatever, and vice versa. And it was funny because when Uncle Steve was ready to go to kindergarten,
Uh-huh.
every day I would take him and he would cry
Oh.
over to Eisenhower.
Mm-hmm.
So finally one day Marilyn had it and she says, "You're not gonna take Steve anymore." She said, "He's gonna ride with me, and she says that way he won't cry and make you feel terrible."
Oh.
So she did. She took him that whole year over to Eisenhower for me because John's birthday is the 8th of November and Uncle Steve's is the 26th.
Oh.
So Marilyn and I were pregnant
Oh, they're the same
at
age?
the same time.
Oh, okay.
So, but it was, like I said, we lived there for 21 years before we moved over here.
Yeah. And you said that you had a job, like you were a bus driver?
I drove a school, it was a school bus, but it was a longer van at that time, and it was special ed kids.
Oh, okay.
And I did that. I sold Fuller Brush for a while.
What's
That's
that?
why I knew when you were doing Amway,
Oh,
Fuller
Brush, is that like vacuums or?
No, that was all cleaning stuff.
Oh, cleaning stuff.
Still
Okay.
you can still get that stuff.
Oh, okay.
What else did I do? I didn't do much because I was, once Grandpa decided to start
Yeah.
with the electric business, then I helped him with that. But I could only take 5 years of that. That was 100 miles a day.
100 miles. Oh, of the
And
bus
that
driving?
was in town driving.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And I thought, I can't do this anymore. And Regina did it for 15 years. I don't know how she ever drove a school bus for that long.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought she just always cleaned. Like, cause she.
She did. She
Mhm.
did both, but she loved the kids.
Oh.
She's something else. I really miss her.
Yeah. Special.
So.
That's awesome. So this question is like, when you were a child, what did you dream your life was gonna be like? Like, I know we all know how it's turned out, but like when you were a kid, did you ever think, oh, this is what I'm going to do? Do you remember like how you saw life turning out for you?
Honey, I really don't think I did at that time. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I guess because my home life was not normal when you think about it. I had no father. I mean, from 6 years old, I didn't see my dad again till I had 3 of the kids. He came and was there when we lived on Reed Street.
Okay.
Then he moved over to Homewood with his Aunt May. That was my grandma's sister.
Okay.
He lived with her. Then he moved down to Florida. So Faith and I didn't really see him again till he decided we were old enough that he didn't have to take care of us.
Oh, okay.
He never gave my mom any support money or anything.
That's so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did he start a separate family, or he kind of just like?
He got remarried, but I don't think he had any other kids. No, I don't know. I don't remember. I guess that's something I just kind of,
let it go and put it to the side.
And then when he finally came back to Illinois, he lived in Faith and John's apartments up there in Lockport.
Oh, okay.
They had apartments up there for, I don't know, I think he was up there a couple years. And then the duplex across the street, he decided he liked that.
Oh.
So he talked to the guy who owned it, and the guy let him buy it.
Oh.
So he lived on the right side, and Louie and Eileen, I don't think you would have remembered them either. You know, you're only from here. So they lived in the other apartment, and then I took care of him. I cooked for him every day and all that for 8 years.
Really?
Yeah.
So wait, he lived in the duplex over here on Davidson Street?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
That was his.
I didn't know that.
And then Paul bought it when we moved here, because Grandpa had already passed.
Yeah.
So, and now
There.
Grandma, yeah, that house put a lot of people, took care of a lot of people actually.
And Aunt Nell lived there at this
And Nell with Uncle Chuck was there. And then she was still there when she and Bob got together.
Mm.
And then they built that house out in New Lenox, remember?
Yeah, I do remember that.
And then they bought the property here from Uncle Steve, and that's when they built this house.
Oh, Uncle Steve had that property?
That was his. He had like 5 acres.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I don't think so, because my mom had to just work to survive.
Yeah.
Because my dad didn't help her out.
Yeah.
So my mother worked her entire time. Yet when my dad needed a place to live, she took him in on Reed Street for a while.
So she did take.
Yeah, and my grandpa burst, had a stroke, and my mom was taking care of him and working full time too.
Grandpa burst, is that the
That
other
would
side?
be your grandmother's, your great grandma's, my grandpa.
Oh, okay.
So my childhood was kind of screwed up. You know, Grandpa's, I would say, was pretty well, you know, he was always in trouble, of course, them and the Chervins. But when you have as many boys as were together with them.
Yeah.
So.
Well, with so many, that's why it's crazy or impressive that they went to Catholic High. Like,
yeah.
I don't think.
Well, Grandpa paid his way through Catholic High, and I think Grandma and Grandpa paid for Jerry and Terry. I don't know why Grandpa always had to do his own thing.
Yeah.
But that's how it was. That's how
Interesting.
that worked out.
Like, so he paid through it with his tire job?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, it was nowhere near what school would be now.
Yeah, but still,
But
like.
to have him doing that.
Initially think of him.
I met Grandpa. Barb Pilon and I were very good friends. And they used to have a youth group at St. Mary Magdalene.
Okay.
So Barb says, why don't you come with me? They had meetings once a month, maybe. I met Grandpa, another kid, Butch, that I dated for a while, and my other one, Mickey, all 3 that same night.
Oh, wow.
Over here at St. Mary Magdalene.
So then, did you date Mickey or Butch before?
Mickey I dated, and he was 19. Mickey at my age was a little too old for me.
Oh, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. And Butch was just going down to the Rialto to a couple movies or something like that.
Yeah.
And then Grandpa, I didn't see him for a while, and then he started calling me.
Oh.
So, and he'd take the bus and come up and see me. So, it was kind of funny, actually.
Aw.
So.
That's funny that you met all of them the same night,
Mhm.
and then you're like,
Yeah.
you
They
know.
were all down here, so it was something else.
Aw, that's so cute. And then initially, when you met him, were you kind of like, he's an okay guy? Or you're like, this is the love of my life. I know.
No, but he said he knew the minute he saw me he was going to marry me.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
He told me that for years.
that's so cute. That's so romantic.
So that's about it for there.
So what did you guys do for dates? Did he just took the bus and came to see you at your house?
Yeah, and we just walk around. I mean, there's sidewalks and everything. I'll take you by the house one of these days. It's still there, believe it or not. We didn't do a lot because you gotta have money to do it. He bought himself a car.
Wow.
It was an old purple. Was it a Plymouth or was that our second car? It was like a Hornet. There was such a beast, and I don't remember the company who made it though. I think it was a DeSoto or a Plymouth, one of the Chrysler product.
Oh, okay.
So, and then he would drop me off at St. Mary at school in the morning, and I'd have all these kids, the Cherubins, because they all went to Catholic High.
Oh, yeah.
So they'd all be in the car, but he'd have to take me to school first. So it was funny.
What did you think of all? Because they're all younger. Like, wasn't Grandpa the oldest? Or...
Yeah.
So what did you think about me? Like, oh my gosh, it's a big family. Like,
I didn't know what to make of it because I mean, 2 kids, and I didn't have a dad. My life was so different from what Grandpa's was.
Mm-hmm. Like, it's a lot of people. Lots of love, though.
Oh, it was something.
Did great grandma work? Grandpa's mom.
Yes, she worked. She was the head of peds up at St. Joe's.
Oh, she was a nurse?
She worked nights. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I was wondering with Grandpa's dad passing, like if she, like how that all worked.
Yeah. Yeah, Grandma worked for a long time. And Grandma's the nurse. Elaine is an LPN.
Okay.
Mary thought about going into nursing, but kind of changed her mind. Marcia was a special ed teacher.
Oh, okay.
And of course Jane, Grandma just had Jane when I met her.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because Aunt Jane and Aunt Michelle are about 1.5 years difference in age.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yep. And of course Carol, she was something else again, so.
Yeah. Always been a feisty, a spitfire.
Oh, yes. Yes, she was.
Aw. That's awesome.
So that is where, I have no idea what other questions